This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have an Affinity front-load washing machine that isn't draining. It's a very common problem. We're going to got it unplugged first. We're going to remove two Phillips head screws from the back so we can remove the top panel. So there's two Phillips head screws here holding on the top panel at the back. We remove those. We're going to push the panel back by a few inches and then we can lift it off. And that's going to allow us to remove a couple of Phillips head screws in the front here, this one and the one on the right, that are holding on the control panel. So we're going to zip those two out and then we'll pull the detergent drawer out and then we're going to press in on a tab to release it and get it out of the way. There's three Phillips head screws underneath the detergent drawer that we're going to remove, and you'll notice that these three are a shinier type of metal. They're stainless steel because they're subjected to corrosive detergent, so to make them not rust they have a different kind of a sheen to them. You want to make sure that those are put back correctly when you're all done. Now we can just pull the control panel toward us so that it lets go at the top. Once it's released, we can just lift it up and kind of put it out of the way. That's going to expose some screws underneath it that are holding on the front panel. We need to get the front panel off so we can get to the drain. So we're going to remove this one on the left. There's one in the middle, and then there's one on the far right that we're going to remove. And there's also some screws at the bottom we remove. First, we're going to take a standard head screwdriver and pry off the spring clip that's holding on the front of the door boot. Just pry that off, and we're going to peel the door boot off of the front panel and kind of push it in toward the spin basket to get it out of the way. And then down here at the bottom there's four Phillips head screws that we want to remove that are holding on the front panel at the bottom. These just zip right out. I usually like to lift the washing machine up onto like a block of wood or something to give me more room to work to get those screws out. It's just hard to get in there otherwise. The other two, and then there's a modular connector we need to release up in the upper right hand corner that is for the door switch. So that's easy, just pressing on the tab, separate that, and now we should be able to lift the front panel up and off to get it out of the way. Once it's out of the way, it's going to expose the drain, make it really easy for us to get to. This is the drain boot, this black thing down here, and inside of it is a plastic cylinder that holds like coins and bobby pins and things that we don't want to go into the drain. So to get to it, we use a pair of pliers to press in on a spring clip, and we're going to press in on the clip, and then we're going to pull the clip and the boot toward us so that it releases. A little bit of water is going to come out, so make sure you got a couple of towels to catch it. Before you do this, if it's not draining at all, make sure you ladle out as much of the water out of the tub as you can. So now we're going to try to get the cylinder to come out of the boot. It's kind of like almost like a little kid being born because there's a small little opening and you got to pull this big boot out of there. I'm going to grab it with a pair of pliers and help me to get that thing out of the boot. Inside of that is going to be some coins and things that are jamming up the drain, slowing down the drain, or sometimes completely stopping it from draining. There we go. So I notice there's a piece of paper in there, maybe an old receipt, and some coins and bobby pins. Pretty typical. Sometimes they'll even find like a little baby sock stuck in there. But once you get it all nice and clean, it is good to put it back in because it can help catch things like bobby pins from going in and hitting the drain impeller and damaging it. So it's wise to put it back in once you clean it. So to put it back in, I'm just going to put it in with the wider side first into the door boot. If you put a little liquid detergent on the inside of the rubber door boot, it makes it a lot easier for this thing to go in. I'd forgotten to do that, so it was a little bit hard to get it in, but the lubricant makes a big difference. So once I'm using a pair of pliers to kind of help me get the rubber over the plastic piece. Once you get that done, push it all the way in as far as it'll go. And it's supposed to kind of sit down into that square section of the rubber boot. So I'm pulling on the rubber and then pushing in with my palm to get that thing to go all the way in. There we go. Then I'm going to angle the top of it up toward the top of the rubber boot. And then I'll push in the bottom. I did remove the rubber boot also where it connects to the tub, but that is not necessary. You don't have to do that. That's an extra step that's not really needed. So I'm going to carefully pull on the boot, push that piece back in there. Now I'm going to orient it so that it's going to fit down into this kind of a square shape piece of rubber. Alright, now I can reconnect the rubber boot back. So what I'll do is I'll grab the spring clip with a pair of pliers to compress it so I can get it back over the rubber piece here. And once I have that, I can go ahead and push the rubber piece. Got to keep the spring clamp as wide as I can get it. And I'll go ahead and push the rubber piece back over the plastic part of the drain housing. And once I've got it over, I'm going to push it in as far as it'll go. I'm going to push that rubber boot and that spring clamp in as far as it'll go toward the drain. Once I got it as far as it'll go, I'll let go with the pliers, and that's going to hold that rubber boot really securely in position. And I'm just going to adjust it, make sure I got it. I'm going to squeeze the clamp, push that boot way in there. Make sure it's all the way in as far as it'll go, because otherwise it'll leak. There we go. And that's all done. We're going to put that front panel back on, add the screws at the top to hold it. There's 3 of those. 1 for each corner, 1 in the middle. I'm going to reconnect, this important part, reconnect that modular connector for the door lock. Just clicks together. We have these 4 screws at the bottom. We got to put them back in. So it seems like these drains on the Affinity washing machine, they clog up pretty bad about every 5 to 6 years. You have an accumulation to the point where it just slows down the drain too much. If it won't drain, it also won't let it spin. So if you open up the door and the clothes are still sopping wet, it could be that that drain is just occluded and you have to clear it, and then your machine should be okay. So I'm putting the door boot back on the front panel, and I'm going to use my right thumb and my left thumb and index finger to seat that back on that metal rim all the way around. Make sure it's fully seated. And then I'll actually lubricate the spring clamp. I'll put some liquid detergent on it because it's really slippery. And that makes it a lot easier to get the spring clamp back on. To get it back on, I'll start it at the 12 o'clock position inside the rubber groove, and then I'll bring my hands down to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and I'll start pushing it down into the groove, and then I'll get down to 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and I'll start pushing and spreading it. And finally, I'll push the spring back in at 6 o'clock. So the spring should definitely be down at the bottom at 6 o'clock. So here's a little liquid detergent for the spring clamp. Here's the 12 o'clock position, and I'm going to start spreading it, pushing it down until the spring locks in at 6 o'clock. There we go. And we'll close the door and put the control panel back into position. and it's going to be held in by 2 screws, upper right hand, upper left hand corner, and 3 screws where the detergent drawer goes. And again, those are more of a shiny silver because they're stainless steel. Alright, here's the special ones for the detergent drawer. One there, one there. Put the detergent drawer back in. We'll go ahead and plug it in, give it a test. So I'm going to let some water come in, and then I'll set it to spin. When you set it to spin, it'll also drain out all the water. I'm just letting water get in. Put the top back on, and then I'll push it toward me until it fits into that seam. Then I can add the 2 screws on the back. So I just set it for spin, which is about 12 minutes. I'm just going to listen to the drain. The drain sounds good. Got it all put back together. Just checking out the drain again. Have it set for spin. And we can hear it gurgling really good back there. That's how it should sound. Here's all the stuff that was caught in there. So thanks so much for watching, and good luck with your machine.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.